Yeah, we did spell check Popo Gijo. We wanted to be professional. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new, newish old movies episode of Nerditude Movie Podcast. This week, we are indeed reviewing A Blade 1 through 3, all three of them. Not one, not two, but thrice. But before that, how is everybody doing, and what have you been watching besides this? Really, I mean, like one is the best, second is the second best, and third is just throw it in the fucking trash.
They're all.
It is
really
amazing
bad,
how they got progressively worse. Like, and I love number 2, but it doesn't even hold up as well as number 1 does, really.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
It's different weird CG. Like in the number 1, it's like that old 90s CG where it's just like shit kind of layered on itself. And then in number 2, it's like Gumby people fighting each other. It's really weird. Anyways, Alex, what have you been watching? You son of a bitch.
This week, not really anything. I have not watched anything.
Was it? Sorry. Son of a bitch.
I played a lot of Starfield all fucking week long.
He's been locked into the Star Wars. Everybody I know is just playing
garbage. I'm collecting a bunch of garbage. I'm just dropping it inside my ship everywhere. You walk into my ship and there's garbage. I showed you on stream one
You're
time.
a fucking hoarder. It's
garbage
weird.
everywhere.
He's got a corner that he shits in.
Hey, I was able to build an outpost.
Well, Giovanni's wife accidentally messaged me on Discord and said something's wrong. He hasn't stopped playing Starfield to even masturbate, so I had to send him a message and talk to him there for a bit.
And then he didn't even respond to you.
I told him to get out of the cockpit and make a cockfit. See, that just shoehorned. What about you, Giovanni? Since Alex has been watching nothing, have you been watching nothing?
Watching Starfield.
I've been watching documentaries. I'm on the Jared Fogle Subway documentary.
Oh, does it get into how he touches children?
It's worse than the Michael Jackson documentary.
I try to keep a straight
Michael
face,
Jackson
but then I
was a
look at
pedophile.
Lewis, and Lewis
Does he toast his Subways first?
Hold on, sorry, because when you called Alex a son of a bitch, in my head, as you guys were talking, I just pictured Matt as like Bob Barker and just being weirdly rude, like, come on down, you son of a bitch. I guess me like, what did I do? Why did you say that?
1600, is that a real guess? Dumb broad as he walks
Did
away.
you see? I think it was on the Wheel of Fortune where that one lady won, and the host just walked off. Like he walked off. Like he didn't come back. Like he's like, "Fuck this," walked off. I'm like, "Wait, what's happening?"
Like if you don't like somebody. So, question: is it true that if you get your sub toasted, you're a pedo?
Oh shit!
I think it's if you ask for everything, hold the mustard.
Yeah. What is it? I need the pizza shop sub because that was the whole thing with those other two guys that nobody's heard from anymore. Yeah, that is weird, isn't it? Like they were like all in the news, and then I can't even remember the Podestas. They were all in the news for how long, and then like when was the last time before me anybody said that fucking name?
Their name fucking rhymes with pedo.
Yeah,
and
the guy in the alley that shot them with his silenced pistol. That's who was the last one to say their name. Come on down to Podesta Pizza. Gotta sing to it. I gotta give it credit. So Giovanni's been watching hentai porn. And start documentaries on hentai porn. Lewis, anything? Chucky, something?
I've been watching a bunch of random ass horror movies. Honestly, I kind of want to watch Blank Check now. No, I've been I took a break from playing Starfield. I'm playing on my Switch now. I'm playing a game called Gloomhaven. And I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos while playing Switch. I watched this Twitch streamer. He posts shit on YouTube. His name's Kit Boga.
Not me.
And he does scam baiting. I do watch.
I heard. Yeah, you both have been watching
when we were sweating in the kitchen.
Yeah, Kit Boga. If you want to watch someone take advantage of scam artists in call centers.
Is that the dude? Is he a blue hair now, or is this a different one?
No, this is a Kit Boga. Looks like our brother Ruben almost with sunglasses.
Okay. Yeah, I see.
I have curly poofy hair.
What's up, Jen? I have watched a lot of the white dude who plays like the old lady a lot. He's got that like old lady voice locked in. Jesus, Lewis was just taken to the Phantom Realm and delivered back. Time travel.
Kit Boga does that too. His shit's pretty funny.
Out there.
What the fuck? Now it works. It didn't work
Dude,
last
it
time.
reinstalled Windows. The fucking camera thing works again. Thank you. I can do the Sammy Sosa one.
No, but we are gonna watch Talk to Me tomorrow night. So
Oh, is
looking
that
forward
what
to
is?
that.
Did you buy that or did you rent it or is it on something?
No, I went to rent it and I didn't realize it was just purchased, so I purchased it. So
Oh.
we're gonna watch it tomorrow.
That happens never because
Yeah.
I'm far too cheap. I'd be so pissed off at myself. I did that once by accident where Amazon Prime, like on Roku TV, used to be really shitty and lag, and I accidentally rented a movie that was like $1 more to buy it, and I was so pissed at myself. Like I don't rent movies ever either. Like I wasn't trying to rent the fucking thing. It was just the lag. The only thing I've watched on my spare time is the RoboCop documentary thus far, and I want the final episode already.
I didn't know each one was an hour long.
Dude, the third one is like I thought it was the end because it's like 1 hour and 15. And
I
they're
feel
awesome.
like I'm gonna have to watch the whole thing and then watch RoboCop immediately after.
Yeah, I'm gonna as well because you see so much RoboCop footage. I'm always sitting there going, man, I gotta watch this fucking movie. And I've just been waiting until I finish the documentary. They don't say anything about the sequels yet. I hope because it's set up for like season 1, season 2 in the listings. So I'm hoping like season 2 will be RoboCop 2. And that way not only are you like diving deeper into it, but you're also getting fresh people to interview because it's different directors, more than different casts, more than likely different people behind the scenes that are all going to be there. And I'm going to assume RoboCop 3 has some serious fuckery that happened behind the scenes. That would, you know what I mean? That movie's a
I'd love a
travesty.
documentary on
Okay,
Everybody's eyes
okay.
are like this.
Here we go.
So much fucking cocaine, man. I don't know what's going on.
Here we go. RoboCop 3 or Blade 3, which is worse?
Which one was RoboCop 3? The Samurai?
The PG-13
Yeah,
Samurai one,
Jetpack.
Yep.
I'd say RoboCop 3.
What wasn't Peter Weller? At least number 2 had Peter Weller.
I'd say number 3 because I kind of enjoyed Trinity a little bit.
You know what? I liked it more than I used to be honest with you. I was able to, at the minimum, enjoy the fight scenes that were there. But I was constantly looking to see if it was like Wesley Snipes or his stunt double, though. Like, that did distract me throughout the whole movie.
That never bothered me. I didn't look.
Well, I'm autistic.
I should have.
Yeah, no, I did like Blade 3 than I thought more than I thought I was gonna, because traditionally I get 10 minutes into it and I'm like, oh, this piece of shit. But I made Jen watch it with me. She had never seen it. Can't back out when she's watching it with me. So we had to go full steam ahead. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of bad in there, but let's not go into the third one because that's going to be mainly like trashing it. We'll go downhill on this one, unfortunately. And we'll start with Blade 1. Alex, you have some sort of amnesia and remembered nothing of this movie. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
So which is weird because Alex would do that, and then he'll be like, "Hey, you remember that time you scratched your knee when we were watching James and the Giant?" Like, you have the most random memory strings, but then you won't remember like certain things, and it makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
He remembers things that bother him.
How the brain works.
It's like, you remember that time we were trying to watch the movie, and then there was a lightning storm, and it spooked Sierra, and she started barking. And I couldn't tell if the sirens were from the movie or if there was something going on outside, so I turned the movie off. I never finished it.
That makes me sound like I was some kind of fucking weird ass stoner, but that's not how it was.
That is some of your stories, though. Like it's kind of close because
Pretty close.
like there's stories like these are all exaggerated, but it isn't out of the realm for you to be like, yeah, I don't like that movie. Why not? Well, I don't know. I was watching it and I had a splinter in my finger and it was just bothering me. And then, like, I had this really nice glass that I would put in the freezer, and then it would stay cold. It was like a Frosty mug. And because of the fucking splinter, I dropped it, and the glass shattered. I didn't even finish it. Never watched the rest of the movie. Like, it's exaggerated, yes, but some of the stories you've told us are like, huh? Like, that's why you don't like that movie? I don't like that movie because my wife kept saying, banana jam, every time the one character came into the room, and I never finished it.
Anyways, now what it was about Blade 1 was I didn't remember the whole thing about the opening with his mother giving birth and that whole scene. I like the first 20 minutes. It was a fucking all like a new thing to me. I never saw it,
including the nightclub, the bloodbath, right?
Yeah,
that's so awesome.
Really, that's the iconic scene.
But the song was in my head. I knew the song was from the movie. I knew that was like where that song came from. but it was just that. Also, I didn't realize that the guy the guy who's like the lone survivor of the nightclub is what's his name from The Shield. He's the guy who gets blown up with a grenade, isn't it? In the TV show Shield.
Shane? No, that's it's no, you're talking about shit, what's his name? I can't remember his yeah, that is him. I can't remember his actual name, but yeah, he was the other guy. So he was the one that came on later on to the team. He was the newer addition. Which by the end he ends up getting murdered because he ended up like starting to discover what was going on. And
I saw him and I was like, oh shit. And then as it progressed, I saw a bunch of other people. They're good. There are a lot of character actors from like a lot of other shows.
Donald Logue is one of my favorites. Stephen Dorff is in there. I only remember Stephen Dorff from this movie and his blue vapes. Sorry.
Who else was there?
Whistler's got the Christopherson. Then you got the chick vampires, the porn actress who couldn't release any of her porn because they were all
Tracy Lords. Yeah,
Tracy Lords.
Only one porn actually exists of hers.
Dude, I remember. Yeah, because that was the only one they filmed legally.
And she owns all the rights to it. And she collected everything off of it.
Smart.
She was smart.
Yeah, got a woman with a good set of gams and a good head on her. Because we're in 1950. Got Moxie. One of the creepiest scenes in this movie is when they throw the doctor down there, and she like meets her former boyfriend who was the doctor. And he's just like, Kevin, and he just starts like, it's like, what the fuck? Like as a kid, because my dad took us to see this movie at the fucking Davis, and my dad's a psychopath, so. When you get into the later scenes where he's hitting him in the face with the ejector cartridges that make him turn into Stay Puft of Explosion, he's laughing. He's just like, that's this one from work. And he's just naming the dead vampires that are just exploding into pools of blood.
I take it your dad didn't like his coworkers back then.
Still doesn't. I don't know. I love this movie. Some of the CG is a little cheesy, but some of the scenes are just, the action's filmed exceptionally well. Like when they're going through the vampire archives and Whistler pops out of nowhere, catch you fuckers at a bad time, and just starts shredding. Like, I like scenes like with the glasses getting shot up and shit's going. Phew, phew, phew. So that was a cool scene to me. Like that's one of my favorites of the movie. That and the opening bloodbath. Like if I ever get the option to remake American Psycho, I'm setting it in the late 90s, and instead of Huey Lewis in the News, it's gonna be the song from the Bloodbath opening nightclub. Mark my fucking words.
Like, I think he's gonna be dancing.
Yeah, he'll be like.
I think it's called confusion.
He pulls out a glow stick out of the cabinet as he's like going to grab the axe.
Fucking
yeah, exactly. Think about it, man. We'll contemporize it.
I thought the hospital scene was in part 2. So when I started watching Blade, I was like, "What the fuck?" Like,
so you could
in the hospital when the cop shoots him.
The fans, you could tell, fuck with him in the first one a little bit. He's kind of got that Denzel Washington from Virtuosity, where his he's in the tunnels. He's like, "Stay down," and he's just got a weird movement with his mouth. So does Wesley Snipes in this. Everything he's, the world you live in is just a sugar-coated topping. Like he struggled with it, I feel like. But still, probably the best acting you get out of him is this one, because this is really before the cheesy lines for him start. Like number one, he's basically just a fucking murderer. Like when you think about it.
There is a line in this movie that I was kind of in, I was watching the movie, but kind of in one of those moods where my attention wasn't fading away, but I was kind of multitasking, and I stopped and turned towards the TV, and I was like, "What the fuck did he just say?" Because Shay was sitting by me, we were watching it, and I hear Blade say to the one chick, I can't think of her name, he says, "Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill."
Yeah. What? See, okay, that one is bad, but when you hear it with the accent, and I believe, is that number 1 or is that number 2?
Oh, it's the first one.
That's number 1.
And that's when he's in the park, right? With Steven. Yeah. Some motherfuckers always talking. My favorite line, and this is because it's one of the only a couple cheesy ones, but when he's in the hospital and the cops shoot at him. He's like, "Motherfucker, you out of your damn mind!" Like, that's the only time you actually see any personality out of Blade is when cops are shooting his chest armor.
And I do think the first movie works for me because Blade is very stoic.
Yes.
He's kind of kept to himself. In the second and third movie, which we'll go into, he's a bit more open with his lines, and I don't think that works. I don't think that works.
Well, you've got the iconic scene in the first Blade where, like, I remember it from the trailer, where all you hear is the subway in the background, and she's like, "What are you?" And he's like, "I'm something else." Once again, the teeth are clearly fucking with him, but it's still an awesome scene in it. Like, at that point, you know, all you knew was he basically took Blade heroin, you know, his insulin, or his, not insulin, his serum. So, like, you don't know much about the guy. You know, he injects himself with the old BH, and it's kind of still mysterious. And then by the third one, it's like, here's your inhaler, Blade.
Yeah. Just bite down on it.
What? Inhaler?
They told him to bite down on it.
Blade's got a fucking inhaler by number 3, but he just, hold on. I'm good.
Some of the goofier things in this movie, though, is I know he's a bad guy, but I feel bad for Donald Lowe through the whole movie.
My fucking hand!
He's just constantly getting fucked up. And also, there's a scene where Blade's escaping I think he's escaping the cops in the hospital, or maybe it's not, with the chick. He breaks a window and fucking yeets her.
Yeah. Yeah, and then he dislocates her shoulder.
Yeah, the CGI looks terrible, but also when you think of the logistics, you'd be like, she's fucking dead. Like, she hit that
like, it doesn't matter how strong you are. Actually, in fact, it does matter how strong you are, because, like, he's not going to underthrow her, and gravity still is a real thing, right? Like, she's got human bones, and all she does is dislocate her shoulder like Martin Riggs from Lethal Weapon? Like, what the fuck?
That scene made me laugh. I had to pause that scene. I was laughing so fucking hard, because I just imagine, like, okay, you're calculating the throw, but how do you know there's something soft under there?
Well, yeah,
like,
she does.
Her just landing on like solid brick.
Her limp body tumbles as it hits the concrete.
Shit.
So in reality, the force he threw her with, he would have just thrown her arm as he ripped it off of her body.
Oh shit! Oh my, that was my bad. I mean, she did fall on a hammock substance though, which completely pillowed her fall. Him, on the other hand, just jumped across fucking superhero landed it. That scene, the way it ends, also sucks, where it's just like the pistol firing at him, and it's shooting into the door. I always, as a kid, even was like, this is a waste of 5 seconds. It just ended. Cut the fucking scene.
When did The Matrix come out? Was it after?
1999. It was after.
God damn it! I keep being sucked into the void. Because when I was watching Blade, like, I just kept thinking, like, I feel like The Matrix kind of got a little bit of inspiration from this movie, because just like
stylistically, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the coolness, the vibe of it.
The fast-moving city, which became a staple that they brought back mainly in the third one.
Well, the same director, he did a lot of visual effects for League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and Return to Oz, of all things.
But this movie, has that same grit and like depressive energy that the Matrix has when they're in the Matrix.
There is a little bit of the almost like fake city vibe where it could be any city. Like, we know it's LA, but some of the shots could be any major city.
But watching those city scenes, though, I get the Matrix vibe, Constantine energy. Like, you get
Constantine,
that
I want
city. I know. We're never going to get one, though.
The problem is by the time they make one, everybody's going to be dead. Like, Peter Stormare can only have so much longer. He's got to come back as Satan, so.
I don't know why it's making me want to rewatch Dark City now.
Dark City. On iTunes, I get the iTunes login because they started selling the unrated cut with all the extra shit put back in, and it's a better transfer. Let me know so I can get you the iTunes login, because I got another bunch of shit out there too that you guys don't have access to, which it would be awesome if you did the review shit.
Dark City is such a bizarre, unique movie. There's nothing like it. Like, it is one of those movies for me. Like, my wife fucking hates it. She just, every time I ask her opinion, it's just weird. She hates the movie.
Did you say she was starting to grow on her?
No, she dead ass hates it.
It's a fucking core memory for me. Just
for me, it's just
discovering that movie.
it's a weird movie. Yes, it's a cool sci-fi movie. I happen to feel it's really well written. It doesn't even have a ton of action, but what's in it is pretty cool and suspenseful. The set pieces are brilliant. It's reminiscent of The Crow almost. I mean, hell, it was filmed on some of the same fucking sets. And at times the movie's beautiful, like the whole scene where they're going down the in the boat towards Shell Beach, and you're just seeing the ruins of the city around them. Like, I don't know, man. I think I think it's one of the most underrated sci-fi movies that ever released.
Dark
Yeah,
City was
that's-
my introduction into like sci-fi and the macabre.
Jen says no, thank you.
That's how I feel because honestly, three movies that I think could have were a decade ahead of their time when I think of is, and they all came around the same time, is Dark City, first Blade, and the first Matrix movie. Like those movies could have came out in the 2010s, and it would have been like, oh, this fits, like this style fits.
Yeah. I mean, the problem is you do get that, but like here's the thing: is Blade 3 released in 2004, right? Or what year did 2010, right? Wait, what year was Blade 3?
Oh,
2004.
Blade
04.
2 is 2002.
So here's the thing: by 02's, I mean, Blade 1 97, Blade 2 02. You could tell CG had advanced, but like what the CG they were using was new. Let's wrap up Blade 1 first. I think it is the best Blade. It is by far, in my opinion, the best goriness of Blade. You know, there's a lot of blood in this fucking movie. I think he's got the greatest lines and the best attitude in this one. The sword play's awesome. Everything minus the end of the movie where Steven Dorff turns into the blob thing, and that CG is just awful. But really, other than that, nothing takes me out of it. For me, Blade 1...
How many blades out of 5 do you give Blade?
Dude, I think I'm going to give it a 4 blades out of 5. I love this movie. Like, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is just too much nostalgia. Maybe it's not. But for me, like, before you had the Avengers, this was the first foray into modern comic book to film movies. What preceded this was I think, had The Punisher in like 01 or 02. You had Fantastic Four at some point. The Spider-Man movie started in 2000.
When did Spawn come out?
Spawn was late around the same time as this, 96, 97.
It's honestly 96. Let me check.
So like Spawn, even if Spawn isn't amazing, those two movies were ahead of their time in just sheer what ideas they were putting on the screen.
Which season 6 Spawn is coming to Call of Duty.
I saw that. Don't advertise that piece of shit on this podcast.
You gotta remember, like Spawn and Blade were like, oh, we're gonna adapt comic book stuff, and it's not for kids. Like this is like
that's true.
That was before that was before all that shit about
like,
kids.
If you ask me, what are 3 movies that were comic book-esque that pair well together that all came out in the 90s that were action sci-fi movies? Spawn being action sci-fi horror. I'd say Spawn, this movie, and Demolition Man.
Oh yeah.
I think if you can watch all 3 of those movies one after the other, and they would all, at least the atmosphere and the way it's filmed would tie together. I mean, there's easy ones, Dark City and The Crow, those are easy pairings.
When did Max Payne come out?
Oh, that wasn't until like 04, 05.
We need to do some Nerditude revisits of like Demolition Man and Equilibrium.
We never did Equilibrium.
We never did Equilibrium. Yeah.
No, you guys spoke about it. Never did it.
We have not done. Yeah, I love that movie. I know that movie's cheesy as shit, but I still love that movie.
I love all those movies. Like I can watch them over and over. They're great.
I do want to, October's coming, so we're going to be hitting the horror movies heavy. I guess we're going to try to plan for four solid weeks of it. It might only be 2 movies an episode, but that doesn't matter. Eat it up, guppies. So yeah, I gave 4. Who has yet to give their story? Have anybody else given it?
I'll give.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll give it a 4. I did like this one out of all of them the most, but I still think they're bad movies. I mean, all 3 of them are bad, as far as like how the stories are written, shit like that. But this is the best one out of all of them. Whatever, man.
Unplug.
I disagree with you that all 3 of them are bad movies. I don't think the first one is a bad. I mean, I think you can. because of how it ages and the cheesiness they add into the second one. I guess if you wanted, you could say it's bad. I do feel the first one is filmed a certain way that even just on the merits of like its cinematography, I don't necessarily think it crosses over into the bad realm. Personally,
the fighting style in this one was a little bit slower as far as martial arts goes. Like,
because he was the only one that fucking knew martial arts in this movie.
Yeah, and as the other two, we'll talk about it as we go along. But stuff changes in part 2 and 3. But yeah, it's still a 4 for me. But I liked it, man. It's just I just think that they're all still bad movies. They're good to watch, though.
All right, shut up, Giovanni. I'm just playing.
This is a 4 as well for me. I love movies with lore. I think this did lore really well. This is one of the very few vampire movies that I think does the vampire as a creature justice in a movie.
Well, did you know that the world you live in is just a sugar-coated topping? And there's another world called the real world?
There's not a lot of them. It's about skating uphill. That's what it's about.
Some motherfuckers, I've heard this, always trying to ice skate uphill. Don't get it.
Doesn't make any sense.
The CG blood gets me every time. I fucking hate CG blood.
Although they did use a lot of practical blood in the first one. The second one, it gets worse. But the first one, even like with the exploding vampire heads, they still use what I thought was real.
Most of the practical blood was coming out of the sprinkler system at the beginning.
Also, I think those exploding scenes were practical as well. When he walks away, when the two vampires explode, I think that was practical. I think honestly, the only CG was Frost at the end when he got his Super Saiyan powers.
You guys ever notice how like? Has anyone else watched? Like, do you watch his crotch when that scene happens? It just like explodes. It's weird. The subway scene
that happens later to Wesley Snipes
with the train. That's got a little rough CG. Yeah, when he turns into Laffy Taffy when he grabs the train. Oh, okay. It's almost cartoonish where you can hear like a whoop sound,
But number 2, it's worse.
Number two is worse. Yeah. Well, number 2, there's also far more CG. I think is the biggest problem. Like number 1 they had built like big built sets. Mm-hmm. They didn't seem to skimp out on that sort of thing. Number 2 had big built sets, but there's a heavy use of CG. And really only a couple, like one of the problems I have for number 2 that we'll get into is the environments don't change much. Like you literally go from like underground lab, nightclub, sewer, vampire lab. Like it's almost like a video game made in that era that didn't have any outdoor scenes where it's just kind of, hallways you're going down.
Movie's inside. That whole movie's inside.
Because he was working with a lot more vampires than he was in the first one.
No, I know, but
he wasn't with vampires.
But number 1, you had the scene with Steven Dorff with the sunscreen. You had where they kill the one vampire in the sun. Like they used it very effectively in that one, and this was more like it just looked like a flashlight that would kill them every time they like showed sunlight. All right, Lewis, what is yours on Blade 1? Your blades.
Same 4 out of 5.
Unanimous decision.
It would be a 5, but the use of a blue filter throughout the movie is very frustrating.
Well, you know what the weird thing is? If they removed that blue filter, it would look exactly like that movie Swordfish.
Mm.
It would, because they're both LA. They're both filmed. That's another movie that copied the shit out of this one, which we've never reviewed that either. You Jackman.
No, we have not.
I've never watched the whole thing.
You never watched it? You know what?
Not the whole thing.
I don't hate that movie. I haven't watched it in a while, but that's the first movie you get to see Halle Berry's tits.
There's no real reason why. It's just I just never finished it.
My brain was like, why is he comparing Big Fish to?
Ewan McGregor's finest performance. Well, hello there.
What is happening?
All right, so we're all 4s. Let's move on into Blade 2. Blade 2 does technically continue the story. I mean, here's the thing. In Blade 1, you have Whistler's death is so emotional and so impactful. And then they start Blade 2, and the whole thing is Whistler isn't actually dead. I'm hunting for his body. They turned him into a vampire. He's got fangs. Hey, look, a tube full of blood. And literally, he's been hunting Whistler this whole time, trying to find where he is. He successfully finds him, de-vampires him, and they go on their merry way. They do introduce more characters in this movie. You have vampire leadership. You have a whole team that was designed to hunt Blade, including Ron Perlman, Donnie
Norman
Yen.
Reedus is in this.
Norman Reedus is Blade's little fuckboy.
Yeah.
And his tech fuckboy. And you also have Donnie Yen as a wildly underutilized actor. You've got who's that other, the Irish dude who was
Tony Curran. Yeah.
Later, he was the bad guy from Underworld 2. Would be probably his biggest role.
Wow.
I think he was in Braveheart as well, which is around the same time as this. But yeah, so they expand the cast. It's a bigger cast, and I think that's one of the issues. I will say, not a bad choice to get like the guy who plays the villain. I think plays it well. I think the villain's written fairly well. They make him sympathetic and empathetic as well as you kind of hate him because he's a hybrid, an evolved vampire race. I do love the action scenes in this movie. The martial arts choreography is better done than the first one. It's more fluid. It's more movie fight style. But everything's got a level of cheese that isn't from aging. It's
the rubbery CGI fights.
That's at least aging. But there's other things in this movie that add cheese that have nothing to do. It's in the writing. It's in the stylistic decisions.
Which the fighting scenes for this one here, they started going a little when they were going a little faster. They started getting more CG where you see them starting to rubber band when they're doing their fighting scenes.
Yeah,
that was kind of like off-putting.
The one fight scene that I don't think, the one fight scene that honestly I don't think has any CG is the last one where he comes out of the pool of blood and he's just like ripping apart the cops. I don't think there's any CG in that scene at all, oddly, or like as far as like the Gumby shit. Big Gumby scene is when the two vampires sneak into his compound, and then the final battle between him and was it Cormac or whatever his fucking name is, the main villain. Like that's a heavy CG scene, unfortunately. And the problem is it gets goofy because they're like, jumping off of platforms and they look like they don't have any bones, and it was new tech. Like it was a new CG. If you notice, that was used in several movies of that time frame. There's a few of them that have pretty bad rubber weird graphics CG.
Even Matrix is guilty of that.
Matrix Revolutions or Matrix Reloaded is huge with that Gumby CG.
It was bad.
Yeah.
Still my favorite one.
Dude, that movie's awesome. Like that movie, you can literally take that movie and skip everything but the fight scenes, and you still got like a half hour to 40 minutes of awesomeness.
Oh yeah.
I do that sometimes where I just throw on the second one and watch just the fight scene. The whole highway scene, they built the fucking highway just for the movie. Like in the middle of nowhere, they're like, well, we gotta build the highway. There's nothing
you
can't blow shit up on a real highway.
That's why I still think we should do Equinox someday with the Gunkata bullshit. What's his name?
Equilibrium?
Equilibrium.
I was like Equinox. I remember the game Equinox.
Yeah.
The car Equinox.
Yeah, that too.
If we're revisiting things, I think we need to revisit RoboCop as well. Frankly.
Yes. Oh, I'm down.
I mean, we could do a revisit / classics where like we revisit some of the ones we love as well as add in new ones of that era that we haven't reviewed. So like we could do a RoboCop with. Did we do They Live? We did They Live, didn't we?
Never. No.
Have we not?
No.
So we could do RoboCop with They Live and have an old and new classic, both classics, we just haven't done one. Cuz they're both satire. Like maybe we should circuit. I mean, we'll get through October and then we've got November, we'll be free, we'll do whatever the fuck we want. Then December we'll be hitting Christmas.
Have you guys seen the RoboCops after 3?
Those are Canadian TV movie productions, and they're awful.
The Afterburns ones, I've watched them.
I am looking forward to the RoboCop. I am looking forward to the RoboCop game, even if it's shitty. I'm in.
When does that come out?
It got delayed till 2024.
Shit.
Sucks.
Here's the thing, man. It can come out and just be a generic ass first person shooter. As long as it looks okay and plays well enough, I'll be happy to run through and just gank motherfuckers as RoboCop. Peter Weller's doing the voice.
Yeah, it looks like a good fun 80s fucking duplicate.
I wish they'd redo RoboCop versus Terminator. Like you could, there's a lot you can do things with that. I'll put it this way: there's things you can do with it, like you can create a battle royal mode around it, or multiplayer mode, much like Star Wars did with Battlefront, where you have all these little characters and then the power bosses or Terminator, RoboCop, Judge Dredd. Like, there's things you could do with these comic book properties that'd be really cool. I'm just waiting on the next Wolverine game right now, honestly. Spider-Man 2 is coming in October. I'm excited for that. I'm going to probably stream that most of the days I'm not doing the scheduled shit when that first comes out.
Where would you
that
stream
first
that
week.
at, Matt?
Oh, twitch.tv/Nerditude.
Oh, okay.
Oh. And raise up a bit. So number 2, like, I really still do like this movie, but because of the technology they use in the CG, it is incredibly dated looking in a lot of areas.
It is. Yeah.
The dialogue definitely takes a downswing into the cheesier territory in this one. The group dynamic erases that kind of like solemn me and Whistler sort of feel the first one had. Like, it was just us two. And then it's like he's working with a team, and yeah, I don't know. I still love this movie. Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things, and I don't know, man. I do enjoy it. But
I thought the concept of the villain was nice, because it was like, what happens if you genetically create a vampire that's greater than a vampire? And it was almost like they kept bringing up the concept of like a crackhead, drugs, like the addiction was higher. I thought that was a cool concept. I thought the villain in this one, like Matt said, the actor who played the villain and the villain, the concept of the villain was done really well. Absolutely really well.
It was almost like Shakespearean in how he acted it.
Yeah.
All three of the movies did have really good stories. They all had really good stories about how the villain was going to be and all that shit, and how it was going to go.
Well, number 3's storyline, it gets fogged with the idea of it being Dracula. Like, if they would have if number 3 would have been like, oh, it's the first vampire, he's a beast of a man, and just left Dracula's name out of it, there would have been less cheese to that villain in general. But by them making it Dracula, it was a little like, okay.
Because when you hear Dracula, there's a certain visual concept. You pull in all the lore, all the movies you've ever seen, and then Prison Break pops out, and you're like, "What the fuck is this?"
Because then he even references. He goes, "Haven't you ever heard of Bram Stoker's Dracula?"
Right. Well, then there's
why would you reference a fucking movie that's
then by the end, when he goes from like human form to demon form, I had like the flashbacks I was getting was from Suburban Commando, when the guy at the end turns into the fucking creature. Like, I'm sitting there going like, this is fucking Suburban Commando, right? Like, same shit. Like, he goes from human form to devil form, and he starts beating the shit out of him. It's just like, this is stupid. Like, this is Suburban Commando's same fucking story plot line. And it's Blade fucking 3. Ryan Reynolds is over there saying cunt. Jessica Biel's over here doing a nude scene with no nudity. Whistler just blew himself up after shotgunning 30 fucking people.
A nude scene with no nudity.
Hey, here's an idea. Let's make a team with a blind chick. Because that's fucking practical. We don't need fit, strong people. We need a blind redhead and that fat fuck Patton Oswalt. Because that's what we really need to be a successful fucking team. You know who dies first when he invades the compound? It's fucking Patton Fat Oswalt. Him and the black dude. For some reason. Maybe because they wanted to go too horror movie on it. Maybe they killed the black guy, then Patton Oswalt. We're not even reviewing that. Back to number 2. Son of a bitch.
My friend Patton Oswalt.
Yeah, Patton Oswalt. Yes, my friend. Fucking guy. I know. I'm ready to give my blades on this. It's gonna be a 3. I love this movie, but with the aging and everything that's gone on with it, it is much rougher than when I watched it in theaters in 02 or 01, whenever it released. Like, I was so into it. I remember, do you guys remember the Xbox game they had? That had the goofy-ass directional combat where the analog was like you had to hit it up to punch forward and right to punch.
That.
Yeah. I played, like, dude, we got that because my mom only bought us games that she found on clearance, and especially back in the day, the only ones that were on clearance are like 2 years after one generation died, or they were the shit tier games. So she, of course, like went to Blockbuster and saw it for like $8. It's like, oh, I bought you a new game. So I played the shit out of it. It's terrible. Anyway, next.
I'll go. This is 2.5 for me. It also had what's his name from Fast and the Furious, the guy. No, the guy who hates fucking Paul Walker from the beginning of the first one.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Tuna here.
Victor.
Yeah, he's I guess he's what's his name? God, I can't remember his name.
The
But he's-
buster kept me out of handcuffs.
Yeah, he's the one that kept fucking trying to shoot him with all the fucking
Damn it.
bullets, and they told him to stop shooting.
Where's my
But yeah,
Corona?
It's a 2.5 for me. The fight scenes just go downhill for as far as actual physical person to person combat. It went all CG, and it started to look like garbage to me. But I still like the story premises of this movie. It's
a bad movie.
When it came to the fight scenes, it was garbage.
See, I disagree. I think the fight scenes that are actual fight scenes and not CG were very well done and better than the first movies.
But that's what I'm saying. But when it comes to like the fight scenes for the CG part,
where they're just like two fucking Twizzlers fighting each other.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
Yeah,
some of them.
I'm gonna go. I can't give this thing. I want to say 2.5, but this movie deserves a 3. I think
it deserves a 3.
I think for all of the Blade movies, I would have preferred if they kept not the action kind of closer to the chest, but like Blade 1 works so good because the vampire action isn't like too chaotic, and there's CGI and it's not as great, but it's more of like a I don't want to say it's a smaller movie, but it just works better when it's not over the top with the action to where they're super reliant on CGI. Blade 2 still has some wonky CGI, but like Matt said, the actual fighting scenes are fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
My issue, though, why these movies scale down, though, again, is the evolution of Blade's character itself. I want him stoic. I want his storyline to stay dark. I don't like the introducing emotions to him. Yeah, his lines get stupid.
Well, that's the only
flashbacks in this one too.
The only emotion that he shows in the first one is when he doesn't kill her because it reminds her of his mother somehow, which he has a memory of her before he was born.
Yeah.
To be fair, I think the reason that memory popped up was he had her ID, so he knew what she looked like, and I'm pretty sure Whisper told him.
For one thing, it's Whistler, not Whisper. He doesn't walk around going, "Hey Blade, we gotta fuck up some vampires."
Hey Blade.
No, but the way the first one does show it is it's almost like he's remembering the vision of her like dying in childbirth, and it's like, motherfucker, you weren't born. Like you can't remember that.
And I think
it's the butterfly effect.
That flashback was more so for the person watching the movie. Like this is who we're talking about, but because of the way it's placed, and we'll talk about it in Trinity. They do it in Trinity too. Because of the way it's placed, it's like, wait, you weren't there. Like, what the fuck?
I imagine Whisper is Whistler's like autistic cousin that he brings along on vampire hunt.
The vampire cat.
Oh, I almost started doing a new character that I had developed there that I haven't released it all yet because I've actually got plans for this character. So did I tell you guys we're finishing the we're gonna make it a trilogy for the and her movies?
Nice.
We'll be finishing that trilogy this October. I'll be filming it in a more cinematic style and less handycam style. It'll be tentatively titled They. Or Them, I don't know.
Are you gonna make a release the matte cut and splice all three of them together?
I certainly am. Yeah, what my plan is that's where this new character I've developed, part of it comes into. Actually, the new character I developed, I have to record some voiceovers and stuff because I have this concept for when he's in the car. Like I make music, we all know that. All the music you hear in the Starting Soon and the intros and all that, that's my shit. So my thought is to do my own radio station where when I'm in the car, I can add, me doing a voiceover as a DJ. One of the ads is going to be this character that you'll hear in the background that I'm developing, and that character is actually also going to transition over to the stream. But it's kind of a plan. I haven't revealed it yet because there is an overarching plan of how I want to do this, but we're going to start with the movie, and then we'll bleed them into other stuff. But that's going to be this October, which we're excited about. I have most of the storyline outlined. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That'll be fun to edit and release because I have some shots like out where we do the recording, there's the corn is all still high. It's the stuff that hasn't been harvested is going to get destroyed anyways. So it's all still standing tall, and there's these crossroads that look like it's just, cross-section streets with all this corn around it. So I'm going to try to figure out how to record something there without getting arrested. We're going to be doing shots inside the campground that this place takes, that the other two movies actually take place in, but different perspectives. So it'll be interesting to do. There's several areas that we've already scoped out, so I'm excited for that. That'll be a lot of fun. Yeah, and then obviously in October we've got, there is 1 week I will not be able to join. That is the week we go camping, where I'll be filming. So we'll be doing 3 weeks in October. So I got to take 1 week off, but we'll be planning those movies next too. Do we all give our blades on this one?
I gotta get mine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the 2.5. 2.5 blades. I thought it was the story was good. It was cool that the vampires were the way they were evolving, like, hey, we're trying to solve this problem.
Well, they also looked at normal vampires like below them,
Yep.
which was interesting. Like, they were just nothing but food to them, and the vampires were at the first time vulnerable to another species, which I thought was a cool concept.
I agree with the stoicness of Blade, especially with the way he was raised. The concept of taking on that, like, ninja training, that self discipline, that solo discipline. He shouldn't be developing the way he did in these 3 movies with that type of discipline, especially since at the end of every movie he basically lost somebody he ended up trying to care about. Like, if you look at all the movies, with the exception of even the last one, yeah, the exception of the last one, it was in the beginning rather than at the end. But
it's all the same
he loses
person
somebody,
too.
yeah, and it's all the same person, which should leave him with trauma, like this is why I'm out here, this is why I'm doing this is why I can never stop. Like, it's never ending. So he should keep that stoicness. But the CG in this one wasn't very good. It only gets worse from here. So 2.5.
Well, I mean, to be fair, the CG in number 3 is a little bit better when you're talking about like the vampires like actually exploding and from
them dying. Yeah.
That was a little bit better. Like, I remember specifically, there's a scene in number 2 where he hits like one of them in the chest with a spike, and the spike is just like completely fake looking. Like, you could tell it just looked like shit. Number 3 has its own fucking problems. Short list, writing, story, in my opinion, acting, actors. There's no direction here. It's it's almost like this is we're making a Blade movie that sets it up to expand the universe, so it's more characters, just to at the end of the movie get rid of all the characters that Blade was working with and have him be back on his own. They form a super team of handicaps. You've got Blind Chick, you've got Fat Pat and Oswald, because you gotta have a black guy, you got the black guy. You got Whistler's daughter, who's never mentioned once, and then they do a horrible edit where it's Whistler telling the black chick from the first movie about Blade, and they edit it to make it seem like he's telling it to this illegitimate daughter that, frankly, he would have had before his other family at this point. So, the whole time he's got another daughter out there, yet he's boo-hooing about this. None of it makes sense. When you when you bring in Whistler's illegitimate daughter, it just completely kills any logic in the fucking movie.
Plus, the real villain in here is Whistler, because he kills more humans in this movie than I think the vampires did.
Okay, exactly. Like, in the first Blade, like, doesn't he kind of talk about, like, keeping the humans out of it and trying to not kill as many as possible? And in this one, they invade the compound, and he just goes, "Oh, Grandpa Jack," with the shotgun on, like, 40 fucking FBI members. I'd be trying to kill the motherfucker too if I'm walking down the pier and I see him just shotgun 6 of my fellow officers to death.
Yeah.
He went mass murder.
Well, to be fair, he did
Blade,
get shot first. Okay.
Blade was
Yeah, okay.
Blade was incapacitating.
Yeah, he didn't use his sword at all. He's like, I'm going to punch you guys in the
out.
face.
Mind you, his mentor is just blowing holes
and,
in people.
And
maybe Whistler had fucking beanbags in it. I don't
The
know.
whole argument is like, you messed up, but I'm going to blow holes in 60 people.
Once again, Blade is under the same issue as Spider-Man. So every
yeah.
punch he throws where he isn't throwing people into walls and shooting them 10 feet across the room, he's holding back on top of it. So if he's fighting a human and they're not getting shot across the room, he's holding back. Vampires are a little bit different. So like there's still that rule set too, where when you see him not cutting the FBI agents down and then he's just fist fighting them like normal, he's also holding back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
People don't think about it because that's the one thing about Spider-Man that nobody understands. He's so fucking strong that when you're playing him in the game and you're beat the shit out of 10 dudes, you have to realize that he's holding back. Otherwise, he would just punch their heads off. He would punch he would punch through them. Like he's that, like the motherfucker can lift up 18-wheeler gasoline tankers and whip them. You know what I mean?
If you ever read any of the Spider-Man comics where he doesn't hold back, it's very, very telling of every other time he's gotten into a fight. Like it's night and day.
That's why I like Batman, because he doesn't hold back and
he just kills people.
Limbs.
I actually just got turned on.
Like this footprint leads to the bad guy. Kills that guy in the corner.
I just got turned on to the storyline where Superman gets too powerful and goes evil. So Batman takes. The fuck did he take? He took some sort of kryptonite thing and turned himself into this creature, and literally drove Krypton spikes through Superman's chest, and then realized like, well, I'm stuck like this, but I'm powerful, and he joins the Laughing Batman or whatever it is, and they're part of they're part of like the evil hangout. I just saw that line and I was like, what the fuck? Like I've never seen this before. Like this is cool. Like I am a big fan of the Marvel Zombies. I also came across a Wolverine story where this kid essentially gets a mutated gene where everyone around him poofs like to death from. He essentially emits a toxic gas that makes them. Their molecular structures vanish, so they send Wolverine after him to fucking kill him. And literally the issue ends with, like, he finds the kid in a cave, and the next morning it's just Wolverine leaving.
Jesus
It's like, fuck. Fucking Wolverine, fucking woof. That's why I hope, like, if they're bringing X-Men into Marvel, man, I don't want kiddie X-Men. Like, I want X-Men 2's level of roughness at a minimum.
Well, since you mentioned Marvel, I think we can't review these 3 movies without discussing that Blade is coming into Marvel, and
everything about that movie has fallen apart, by the way.
Yeah, it has.
Mahershala Ali, who is, I don't know if he's still going to be Blade, but who they chose to be
Oscar
Blade,
winning, isn't he? Didn't the Green Book win Best Picture?
I don't think he's going to be Blade anymore.
I think he has potential to be fucking awesome.
He would have been a good Blade, I think, yeah. He would have been alright. He's a good actor.
I didn't like the idea of a not rated R Blade, and rewatching these movies, I don't like the idea. Like,
can you imagine if Blade 3 was PG-13, how much worse it could have been?
Oh my god.
It needs to be dark. It has to be dark.
Okay.
Blade...
The Crow reboot. Do we have any hopes for that? It's got a decent guy playing it. He's one of the Skarsgårds.
It's going to be rated R, though, right?
I believe
it's
so.
Going to be rated R.
I
believe
it's going to
be rated R.
I believe it's not only rated R, but they're keeping it closer to the actual source material of the comic.
So I have hope for it. Then I think it's going to be this movie.
I think it'll be good. I mean, the first movie was a low budget. Like, we'll see what happens. That was the first Crow. Like, we're going to make this movie. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, that movie was amazing.
The number 3 trilogy, actually, he was one of the writers for one of the Crow movies.
Wait, have we reviewed The Crow?
I don't think we did it.
Then that's got to be one of the Halloween movies. That's a fucking Halloween movie that we've never reviewed then.
Every time I think of The Crow, I just picture Chris Angel in the whole movie as...
Oh, you want to throw me out of a window, do you? Mind freak! And then he's behind him. It's hard to kill me if you can't catch me. And then he's like, watch this. And he separates one of the bad guys in half. Whoa!
He does all this like mystic shit and somebody punches him. He's like,
oh, my fucking nose! God damn it! Oh! And then they just shoot him in the chest. Like, enough, Magic Man.
I feel like I've just ruined that movie for a bunch of people.
I'm going to go watch that movie with Chris Angel in mind. Like, I want to figure out how to superimpose footage into it, where it's like the shopkeeper is like, what the fuck are you doing here? And it's just Chris Angel. We're going to Explore your mind.
Oh, dude, you need to do a Nerditude edited trailer like you like to do.
I haven't done one in a while.
Just superimpose the mind freak into like the whole trailer in random spots.
Dude, what if I turned The Crow into a comedy?
Oh my god.
Do you think I could turn The Crow into a comedy?
I don't know. How would you do that?
Is there enough?
Absolutely
I
try.
move.
Yeah, I mean, there are those sorts of like.
You'd have to get that little clip.
I don't know if there's enough dialogue in the movie itself to turn it into a comedy.
No, but I mean, you can start like splicing. You can start pulling dialogue from like the early trailers of like this summer, one man. Just like start splicing that stuff in.
Cut Brandon Lee out and just put him behind like random explosions as he's just like walking. I can do my own voiceovers where it's like this summer it can't rain all the time. Oh, I'm gonna think that's might be my next trailer, trying to turn The Crow into a comedy.
For Halloween?
Like action comedy, like a Lethal Weapon style movie.
I think what would be cool, I mean, I say these things, but you're the one who does the work, but for October to take some like happy or goofy or Hallmark movie trailers and turn them into horror trailers with like ominous music.
Well, that wouldn't even be that hard, too.
Shit like that.
And those trailers are short. They're like 30 seconds each, too. Like I could pump out several of them.
The transition sound in every Gordon Ramsay show where it's like,
oh, yeah. Well, they've also added the ones where it's like a knife chop. Like he's literally got transition scenes where it's just a cleaver cutting into beef. And it's like, all right. Jen loves when he smashes the salmon. Like literally anytime the salmon's undercooked, she's like, smash it! And he eventually just sprays all over people. They gotta walk around the rest of the night with salmon chunks in their fucking shit. They must smell wonderful when they get back. Like I want to know who does their laundry. Because I feel like before they enter the fucking room, they just strip all their fucking cookery down and poor maids, I got these, and they fucking go into the industrial wash. You know, basically they cook meth in the same area. Like it's almost like a Breaking Bad washing machine service. Think about it. They're connected. Gordon Ramsay does meth. Number 3 is terrible. Lowest, the worst of the Blades. The acting is shit. The guy who they choose for the villains is awful. I don't find him to be a good actor at all.
This is the second time they introduce a team for Blade and put no emotional connection to it, because in the span of 10 minutes they're dead.
Well, yeah, that's the whole thing is they try to create like really thin threads of emotion where he cares about these people, and then it's like, hope you didn't like Patton Oswalt, hope you didn't like Whistler, blind chick, she gone.
He hears the name Whistler and he looks and he's expecting to see Whistler, but it's the girl that comes out. He's like, what? And then I put 2 and 2 together.
Also,
I know.
Whistler has a penis. Who are you?
Every other scene in this movie is Ryan Reynolds' abs.
I mean, he is fucking jacked in this movie. You gotta give him credit. Like, he went from 2 Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place to this, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was in Waiting and Van Wilder, and then this was supposed to be his big role. Like, he trained for 6 months, got crazy jacked, and this flopped, and then he did Amityville Horror, which flopped, and he was stupid jacked in that movie. And then is when that's when he got the Wolverine Deadpool movie, which flopped.
And
He
Proposal.
did a whole string of flops. Proposal's a pretty okay movie.
Because Sandra Bullock was in it.
His rom-coms are pretty good.
The problem with Ryan Reynolds is there's so many roles where even if like it's too much Ryan Reynolds, you could still say, man, you know what? He would have been good in the role in Twisted Metal as
he would have been amazing in Twisted Metal.
As Anthony Mackie's character.
Okay.
Like that's the thing is you could really fit him any show that's got a wise talking kid in it or a wise talking dude in it, he can fit in. He does drama as well. There's a lot of promising rumors coming out about the Deadpool movie, and it's way more than just Wolverine. I've heard rumors of there's going to be a fight between Magneto and Scarlet Witch. I've heard
they're bringing back Fantastic Four. They're bringing he's bringing a lot of people back.
I've heard that they're going to because he can time travel and everything, and apparently interdimensionally travel. They're going to be fucking with that a lot in this movie, from what I understand.
If they're gonna do that, I hope they lean in towards the comic Deadpool kills the multiverse.
Well, wouldn't it be like just a quick scene you could do is like he goes into a dimension and meets like Tony Stark and it's Tom Cruise and he's just like, who the fuck are you? And leaves the dimension.
I think he's killing off because they're bringing back when Fox owned them. They're bringing them all back. I think he's killing off the Fox
All of
Marvel
Fox characters.
I think so too.
I think that's what he's doing.
I think because I've read rumors of James McAvoy is going to make another cameo. Like they're talking about like the X-Men franchise in specific. There's a lot of players from all of the movies that are reportedly going to be in Deadpool.
There's also going to be another Wolverine in here, I believe. That's not.
Please let it be Daniel Radcliffe.
There's got somebody else as a Wolverine.
Danny DeVito. That would be all right.
That would be hilarious.
You think it'll be their soft introduction for whoever's gonna play Wolverine,
the new one,
eventually?
That would be nice.
Yeah, that would be nice.
It'd be nice if they actually gave you like he ends up going to like the final dimension of like where everything's normal and he meets Wolverine and it's played by whoever's going to be in the Marvel universe. Although
and that's where Old Man Wolverine goes back and dies.
Well, we've already had that, yeah.
No, but I'm saying that's what happens. Like that's why he's not in there.
That movie's so sad. Like you realize that Adamantium has poisoned Wolverine and essentially killed his healing ability. Professor X has killed 95% of the mutants by having a brain surge during a fucking dream. That movie is depressing as fuck. Awesome.
So good though.
Awesome, but depressing.
The black and white cut for that movie is so good too.
I have that, I think, on Vudu or whatever one I own it on. I haven't watched the black and white. I did see that Old Boy has a 4K transfer out now, and I will be picking that up soon.
Uh-oh.
It's only like $13 too. It's not bad.
Is there a new remake or no?
No, this is just they remastered.
No.
They remastered the original and re-released it in theaters, like select theaters, and they put out a 4K transfer of it.
Oh, okay.
Which, as long as it's got subtitles, I don't like the English language track. Like, don't even include the dubbed. Like, make people fucking read it. All right.
I did.
Blades for this one, 1 out of 5 for me. Drastic fall from the second one. And as we just discussed, that one had its own set of problems. This one, the problems are beyond dating. It's beyond shitty CG. Those elements actually were the least of my problems. Parker Posey's acting in this movie is some of the worst acting I've ever fucking seen.
Her role is not that huge in this though. Like compared to what she's done in other movies, her acting is fucking horrendous in those movies, and this one wasn't that bad compared to what she's done.
No, but in the way she's when she's talking to him in his ear, and she's making those weird fucking facial expressions. Ugh. It was awful.
She's trying to be like
Triple H is awful.
Twitchy weird, and she just didn't do it very well.
I think she was having a problem with the prosthetics.
Yeah, I think so too.
That's one of the main things for her.
Triple
H was the same thing.
The dog thing is stupid and stolen from Resident Evil. Triple H is stupid. Her brother in the movie is useless.
He really is. Like he dies.
He's only there to be. He's in a suit the whole movie, then gets killed. I think the whole Jessica Biel character, where she's got a fucking lightsaber, is dumb.
The cheese in this one got worse. For example, when he catches the baby.
Yes.
And he goes, Coochie coo. Like,
yes. Or, he's got, I was born ready, motherfucker.
It would have been funny if when he's chasing Dracula and he gets to the mother's house and she's screaming and he remembers he can shapeshift and he just punches her just to check. And then out of the window.
You have to admit, she is rather mannish. Dude, everything about this movie, none of it works well together. Everything they try, they fail at. Blade himself is... The character of Blade isn't in the movie that much. Like, he doesn't have many lines. The lines he does have are stupid.
The guy who wrote this and directed it is the same guy who did Hellraiser.
The reboot? Hulu? The new one?
Yeah, and he also did, like, every fucking story for Call of Duty.
Here's my thing. Almost. There is a possibility where this movie is the same situation like... Oh, fuck. What was the comment? Morbius. Where the studios made them cut so much shit, edit around things, add in things. You never know what fuckery went around behind the scenes. And honestly, that's where my leaning is in this one. I honestly feel like the filmmakers had a vision, and had it been carried out the way they wanted, probably would have been a decent product. Because it was rated R. You had up-and-coming stars. Nobody can say Ryan Reynolds and Jessica Biel didn't get bigger from there. So you had everything that would have worked. It's just, I think this might be a situation of what your main actor is a piece of shit, and the studios fucked with this movie way too much.
Yeah, because listen to some of the shit that he's written with. So let's go. Hellraiser, Sandman. He did Call of Duty, the games. He did Dark Fate for Terminator. Krypton, the story of Superman. Constantine, the TV show. Batman vs Superman, Dawn of Justice.
This is off topic, but is the new John Wick show out?
Yeah, not getting great reviews. From what I understand, the story's boring and the action is inconsistent.
Ooh.
That's basically the summary I've been reading from several sources. It's not bad, but it's John Wick light. And I think the problem is in this era where you do have TV shows like Game of Thrones, and you do have, with the production value they have, you really can't afford to make anything less good than the movie. Like, the TV show should have been potentially better than the movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not of the same quality at a minimum, then that's why it's not getting reviewed well.
Especially if you don't have big name actors that you have to pay the X.
Well, fuck, they got Mel Gibson. He's in it. I think he probably plays the hotel manager. I don't know. It's only like a 3 or 4 part series on top of it. It's a mini series. But okay. I'm gonna check it out just to see what's in it. But reviews right now are like 5s and 6s that I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, not what everybody was hoping for. And I hear a big part of it is like you have one action scene that's good, and then like there's another one that's shit. Like it's just kind of inconsistent. Which is, to be fair to John Wick, the action scenes evolved and changed how they were done over time. I still feel some of the scenes in the first movie are some of the best. Just because at that point you had never really seen gung fu like that. And they kind of evolved. The movies as they went on got more brutal. The martial arts got better because everybody was consistently training for a decade for doing the movies. So I love the John Wick franchise. So my opinion is if it's anything less than stellar, it's going to get shit on. So I gave a 1. Who's next?
I'll go. 1 as well. 1 as well. I think one of the big problems with this movie is the villain.
Triple H.
You introduced Dracula. And we talked about this before we filmed. Dracula gives you a particular mindset. Everybody who knows Dracula, the lore of Dracula, has seen Dracula. Bram Stoker's Dracula, I think, is probably the best Dracula. There's a show on Netflix that follows Dracula. It's like a British, I think, 6-7 episode series. It's really fucking good.
Whoa. You mean to tell
Dracula.
me you're going to discount Dracula from Van Helsing?
I don't like that Dracula. Holy shit. That Dracula's terrible. But you have a certain mindset for Dracula. And when you see Dracula in this movie, aside from the lore explained to you about Dracula, there is nothing interesting.
He looks like a knockoff Spartan. Like he was training to be one of the Spartans, and then they were like, not enough abs, bro, and he didn't make the cut.
Yeah, I think the villain
he was a bad choice.
Too high. Even if you replace that actor, the way he's portrayed in this movie was just, it wasn't done right.
The smart choice would have been bring back Steven Dorff, figure out how to bring the blood god back to be reincarnated.
Oh, that would have been cool. Yeah.
Then you have a whole it's you're retreading territory, but Dracula's a weak villain. Like, there's nothing about him that's strength in this movie except he's the first, so therefore he's strong.
That would have been a better story.
He might kill a bunch of vampires around him.
There could have been
everywhere.
There could have been a kind of like a mystery, and in the end, Blade finds out wait, they're using the same fucking temple. I know this temple.
Yeah, he ends up even if you don't want him to if you're using Steven Dorff, make him the ultimate villain where you're fighting the blood god again. But hopefully by 2004 when this comes out, your CG's a little bit better. You can do more with the blood god itself. Have the blood god be less about an individual and have him start infecting other vampires with this, some new strain of something. You know what I mean? They could have done something that wasn't just, we're going to take Blade, put him with a young crew, kill Whistler, bada bing, bada boom, Dracula. That's really what this movie feels like.
Why is it Dracula? Why is it Dracula opens this way and so do the dogs?
Right.
But the regular vampires are only their fangs.
Well, that's the other thing. They try to tie it to number 2 with that, but if you remember correctly, number 2 was created because they were doing
DNA
genetic.
splicing.
Exactly, they were doing DNA shit to his own family.
So
Dracula wouldn't have had that at all in the lore. It didn't make any sense. He didn't create that. That was genome therapy that created that.
Yeah.
So that was another, like, it would make sense for maybe the dogs to have it, because if you know, it's all genome, research. Yeah. Like, maybe that would make sense, but by the way, rip off of Resident Evil. But
yeah,
beyond that, the him opening his jawline doesn't make any fucking sense. Then he gives him the old tongue slap at one point.
That was weird,
like, what the
dude.
fuck? Did you just slap me with your tongue? You kissed me, you fucking loser.
I want to lick you.
Yeah, I ain't part of that shit.
I like that.
Where's the blade just goes totally black. I'm not into that gay shit. And he's like, what? Come on, I hit you with my tongue.
That one line when he goes, motherfucker, he goes, motherfucker, I like that.
Yeah,
like
I like that. And then right before he tries to kill him, what do you think, motherfucker? It's almost bad as Hans. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Yeah, it's just terrible. But Professor Snape dies.
Yeah, I can't give this higher than a 1. It's funny you bring up Steven Dorff because him as a blood god seems like a epic final villain, more of an epic final villain than Dracula in this movie. And also, if you read like Bram Stoker's Dracula, like Dracula in any movie shouldn't be like a psycho superpowered vampire.
He also stalks the night. Like, he's not a daywalker.
And also, Dracula, if you read Dracula, he just wants to fuck. Like, he doesn't want to kill people.
The crazy thing is that Dracula, the portrayal of the, like, high-ranking vampire leader in number 2, the one that's responsible for the hybrid vampire, the royal family, he's more Dracula than fucking Prison Break is in this movie.
Yeah,
exactly. Well, also, I mean, Dracula, if they would have done him right, he would be like the shitty final villain. He has henchmen.
I will say Dracula, like a spider, though, is when you get up close. Like, that's the thing with Dracula is he's not going to go run and fist fight you. But if you get within that grass, he can turn you to dust. It's that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the dude they chose, like, it should have been
awful.
Dracula should have been a lot older, not Joe Biden old, but a lot
skeletons.
Older,
ice cream doesn't have bones.
Thick, handshaking a ghost.
Yeah.
Thick Romanian accent.
Yeah.
It should, and also
I would mean Peter Stormare. Like, I understand he's Swedish, but like he could have done it.
I think the guy who was in the guy who was their driver, he could have been the Dracula. The old man.
Who's driver?
He was
the one who comes up after.
Yeah, he's the one after, and Blade looks like she goes, "Don't worry, he's our driver." He could have played fucking a good Dracula.
Okay. Yeah,
he's been.
They needed a slightly older individual, and Anthony's right. Dracula. If you read the stories of Dracula, he was concerned about not curing himself, but like reproducing, like naturally birthing vampires. He wanted to
fuck.
Yeah, he wanted.
I've seen True Blood. I get it.
Vampires to take over the world, get rid of the humans for what they did, and then take over the world. Like, that's what he wanted.
One thing that I thought was an intriguing concept that you didn't see in any of the movies except this one was the blood farm.
Yeah,
that was cool. Yeah.
Which that somebody made that into an art exhibit, where they put a human with a vacuum on one end and a vacuum on the other end, and they fucking were in between two pieces of plastic, and there's live people in there, like that.
I would uncap the one end and rip ass in it. And
hey, what happens when I light the bottom of this on fire?
It's weird, man. People are doing it to this day.
I would have just brought a hair dryer. Whoopsies, getting a little tight in there, isn't it?
What they call it, vacuum seal?
Yeah, right?
Vacuum seal?
Hold on, I bought my flavor saver. Give me a second. Ta-dunk. Let me get my Hoover.
You got to put the tape on both sides of the window and vacuum seal it.
Hold on, guys. I got to pull start my Dyson. We're going to get that air out of there.
It's some weird people out there, man.
Are we all at one here?
Yeah.
All right.
One. Yeah.
Next episode we have... I don't know if that's the episode or the week I'm going away or not. I don't think so. I think it's the second week of October I go away. But the next episode will be the first Halloween episode, I think, at this point. So
So
the
nothing for
20
next,
the
nothing for
29th?
next Friday,
Or
the 29th?
I'll be here. So next, wait, shit. Do you guys want to do one next week?
That's
Is everybody
that's when my
available?
vacation starts, so I'm down.
All right, so we'll have an episode next week. We'll choose. We'll be doing October movies, so we'll do some Halloweeny stuff.
We can start. We can start a first one. Yeah.
I just made the new fucking intro. Now I gotta make a Halloween intro. Son of a bitch. We'll figure it out. Son of a bitch. But yeah, so we'll see you guys next week then. Start of October ish. It'll be Halloween month as we do, and then November is gonna be fuck off month. Do whatever we want, and then we'll be running into December's Christmas, which. We're going to be starting to scrape the barrel, I think, a little bit.
We should review Hallmark movies.
Oh.
Giovanni will not be with us in Christmas, unfortunately.
I will be on next week for the pre-Halloween.
Nice.
Okay.
So we'll all
Sweet.
choose those movies together. I have some ideas, and I want everybody to submit your ideas. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you for hanging out, both at the game stream earlier as well as this episode. We'll be back next week for the beginning of October. And
remember, some motherfuckers are always trying to be skating uphill.
Yep.